Hello all my sewing friends and a special welcome to my channel. Today I'd like to tell you and show you how easy it is to work or to do some pipings and cordlings or cordings. I think that's how you call it. Well, what is this? For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, a piping or a cording is nothing else but a pleat that's been stepped down. So a sewn over pleat. That is all it is. And I show you 4 different kinds which are very, very easy for you to do and to use on any nice garment, on any clothes you like to sew for yourself and use it. So let's go and do it.
So let us start with the most easiest of all pipings. Make yourself a mark in which position you would like to stitch this, fold it over, and now decide in which width you like to stitch it, because a piping made like this can be between 1 and 10 millimeters wide, and it's still called a piping, and it has the same function. All you do is step down a pleat that you made. So maybe you say, okay, I got enough material to cut out of this piece of whatever I want, but it's a bit boring with this one simple seam in there. So if you wish, and if you got enough material there to cut something out of it, maybe you like to put in another 2 millimeters distance another line, another stitching line down, and maybe a third or maybe even a 4th one. Also, you can do this in different colors if you wish. So you will, each time when you change something color-wise, you get a different look and you will have a different piping to use for anywhere you want to. And as I said, these 3 stitchings that I've just done there, they could be 3 different colors and you got a total different look. So that is the easiest. Let's get to the next one. As this next piping is done with a cordle stitched inside, you would call it a cording. Therefore, in my particular case here, I will first of all change the foot on my machine. I take my normal stitching foot off and I will put a 1/2 foot on. This is actually a zipper foot, which I'm using to stitch the zippers in. But for this particular job, with this cordle inside, this is perfect to use. And you see on my Pfaff industrial sewing machine, I got this nice screw there. All I have to do is undo the screw, take my foot off, whichever one is on, and add the one which I got to use now for this next job. Again, you mark in which position you would like to put the cording or the cordle in. You fold the material left on left side, and exactly in that edge, very tight in the corner, in the bend over, you put your cordle. And now you can see my foot is on the right side, my cordle is on the left side, and now I'm stitching really tight along the cordle there, so it's really only held in that groove that automatically is happening there. You can see I'm going down there with my fingernails to really push the cordle into the edge which I folded over and go tight with the needle stitching along the cordle. And that result is perfect for a really showy piping or cording because it sticks out so nicely. Also here, again, you can work with the same color thread or choose different size cordles. This cordle here is approximately 4 millimeters wide, which I stitched in, and that gives that one. But you can also put a much thicker one in, and the bigger your cording will get then. So that one is finished, and we go on to the next project. Because now, as you can see, I am sitting on my household sewing machine, and I'm using the same cordle with the 4 millimeter cordle, which I've just used for the last one, which I did with a straight stitching. Now, for this cording, I'm using the same cordle as said, but I'm using my normal zigzag foot on my household sewing machine, and I will go along with this very normal zigzag foot on the side along on my cordle. Make sure you got the right bottom in the machine on to stitch the zigzag, not to kill your needle. Your machine, of course, has to be set for the right purposes, whichever you want to do. So now, with this foot, it doesn't have to be a special one. I just go along the same with the needle, which I'm testing first. Where does my zigzag stitches move in? I turn my hand wheel so I can test exactly how far does my stitch go to the right or to the left. And usually on a computerized sewing machine, you can set the needle either to be more on the left, in the middle, or on the right, so that you have to test first and check it. And in the moment you know that's exactly how I want it, you start going along the edge of your cordle again. With now the cordle is lying on the right side, and I want my needle, when it goes in the zigzag on the right side in, I want it to again go exactly along the cordle. And that gives it's the same thing as well what we've just done on the normal sewing machine with the cordle, but because of the zigzag stitching, it will have a total different effect when you've done that, although it's the same job. And again here, of course, you have the possibility of saying, oh, this zigzag stitching now that she's chosen is way too small for me. I want it wider. I want the cording to be wider. And again, that is all your decision how to change it. But you can see now it's much more showy with this zigzag going along the cordle than just with a normal sewing machine. So make your decision which one you like more. But we got one more to come now. As I promised you, I got 4 different ones that I would like to show to you. So what I do is I now take a much thicker cordle. This is about 7 to 8 millimeters wide, and it is a flat one. There are flat cordles that you can buy and round cordles. The first one I used was a round one. This is a flat one. Again, mark yourself where you would like to put the cordle in. Make your little cuts in the positions. That's where you would like to put it in. And again, put this cordle exactly into the edge, and this time flat down, because that's for this next one what I'm doing much easier. Because now I do not want to go along the side stitching. I want to go directly over the cordle, which means my stitches will go on the right side, as you see me holding it here. On the right side, it will practically be stitching in the air, more or less, directly on the edge of the material, while on the left side, it goes down in the directly next to the cordle again in the material. You must look which side you want to have as the proper upper side. That's why I've just turned my piece of material over, which you've seen. And now, of course, you also have to put your zigzag stitch in the width that your cordle is, if you want to do this particular kind like I'm doing it now. I said my cordle is 7 millimeters, so my zigzag stitch now is also 7 millimeters wide, because I want to exactly cover practically the cordle inside with my zigzag stitching. Again, push it really into the edge of your fold over material. That is important, because if that slips over to the inner side, then the cording does not have this perfect look at the end. You must take your time, as the machine got a bit to do here and a bit to work. You can use, if you really want to do it with contrast colors with the stitching, then maybe use at least an 80 thickness yarn, or maybe even a 50. Also, I wouldn't use a very thin one if you want a contrast. If you want it the same color, of course, then it's perfect if you use whatever thin one you got around. And here you see the finished result of my 4 different piping or cordings that I promised you. And I can only say I hope this is a little bit of help for you for anything you would like to do next. And yeah, I hope you like my video. Thank you so much for watching all over the world. I'm looking forward to hear and read from you again for which side of the world you're watching me, because I'm with you wherever you are in this world. God bless. Have a good time. And I hope you will be around again. Bye bye now. Yours Lilo. Tschüss.